येत्या काही मिनिटांमध्ये आपण आजच्या सेशनला सुरुवात करणार आहोत. पुढच्या 1 मिनिटामध्ये आजच्या या सेशनला सुरुवात होईल. नमस्कार. आजच्या या सेशनमध्ये आपल्या सगळ्यांचं स्वागत. कॉमर्स क्षेत्रामध्ये काम करण्यासाठी इच्छुक असणारे आपण सगळे 12वीचे विद्यार्थी, या 12वीच्या विद्यार्थ्यांसाठी एक्झाम अगदीच जवळ येऊन ठेपलेली आहे आणि या एक्झामच्या अनुषंगाने, या परीक्षेच्या अनुषंगाने बुक कीपिंग आणि अकाउंट्स या विषयामध्ये 100 पैकी 100 मार्क मिळवण्याची इच्छा तर प्रत्येकाची असते, पण मात्र मार्ग दाखवण्यासाठी मार्गदर्शक योग्य नसतात. त्यामुळे बऱ्याच वेळा हे मेहनत कितीही करतात, प्रयत्न कितीही करतात, पण मात्र यशापर्यंत पोहोचत नाहीत. त्या मेहनतीला, त्या तुमच्या प्रयत्नांना योग्य दिशा मिळावी यासाठी मार्गदर्शन करण्यासाठी आज आपल्यामध्ये उपस्थित आहेत माननीय श्रीराज भोर सर. सर तुम्हाला आज मार्गदर्शन करतील बुक कीपिंग अँड अकाउंटन्सी या विषयामध्ये 100 पैकी 100 मार्क्स कशा पद्धतीने मिळवायचे, यासाठी काय ट्रिक्स आहेत, काय फॉर्म्युलेज आहेत, ते फॉर्म्युले दाखवण्यासाठी सर आपल्यामध्ये आज उपस्थित झालेले आहेत. अगदी तुमच्यामध्ये आणि सरांमध्ये खूप वेळ व्यत्यय न बनता मी सरांचं पहिल्यांदा सरहद ज्युनियर कॉलेजच्या वतीनं या सत्रामध्ये स्वागत करतो आणि सरांना विनंती करतो की सरांनी आपल्या सगळ्या मुलांशी संवाद साधावा. माननीय भोर सर, ओव्हर टू यू सर.
थँक्यू सर. सगळ्यात पहिल्यांदा रुबीना मॅडम, त्यानंतर अर्चना मॅडम आणि उमेश सर यांचे खूप खूप धन्यवाद. मला तुम्ही संधी दिली सर्व ज्युनियर कॉलेजच्या विद्यार्थ्यांबरोबर संवाद साधण्याची. तर आपला आजचा विषय आहे हाऊ टू स्कोर 100 आउट ऑफ 100 मार्क्स इन बुक कीपिंग अँड अकाउंटन्सी. आपल्या सर्वांना माहितीच आहे की अकाउंट्समध्ये 100 पैकी 100 गुण मिळवणं ही एक प्रत्येकाचं स्वप्न असतं 12वीमध्ये, आणि सगळ्याच विषयांमध्ये हा जो अकाउंट विषय आहे तो आपल्या सर्वांना खूपच जास्त आवडतो. तर त्यासाठी काही ट्रिक आहेत. 1 महिना राहिलाय परीक्षेसाठी आणि तुमच्या सगळ्यांना त्या ट्रिक कळाव्यात यासाठीचं हे आमचं गेस्ट लेक्चर आहे. मी फार वेळ न घेता लेक्चरला सुरुवात करतो. So our subject is how to score 100 out of 100 marks in bookkeeping and accountancy. So for that purpose, first of all, we need to understand what is question paper pattern for 2021 and 22. So this is question paper pattern for 2021 and 22 only. So first question is related with objectives. So objectives are very important. Total 20 marks are there, and for that 20 marks you will have this much options: A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J. So for in first option you are supposed to write choose the correct option and rewrite that sentence. In B you will have one word or phrase or term. C you will have true and false. In D you will have odd one out. Then in E you will have complete the sentence. In F type you are supposed to write one sentence only. In G it is agree or disagree. In H it is calculate the following. Some small mathematical or calculations are there. In I you will have a format of bills of exchange, and in case of last question you will have table, and that you are supposed to complete. So before examination you need to select which 4 types of MCQ that you are going to solve. If you are not going to decide that on the spot, if you decide, then it will create problem for you, because without practice it is not possible to get out of marks in objectives. So you need to identify, you need to go for practice which option you are going to select, and only for that MCQ you are supposed to go for practice. So out of all these numbers, from my personal view is that if you go for A, C, D, G, and J, so all these five out of these five, even if you can go for four, then no problem. Because when you are going to choose one sentence, at that time you can make mistake related with spelling, or you can, if you can't phrase that sentence properly, then it will, you will lose that marks. So we want perfect answer if we want to score out of. So you are going to select only those questions like true or false, agree or disagree. So when you are going to write true, then you will definitely get full marks for that. So these five options are available: A, C, D, G, and J. Out of that, you can select four. So you will score maximum marks in objectives. Our target is that we must go for the out of marks in this objective type question. This is first one. Then second one is problem. So there are problems in question. So first option is there. Second question is there for admission. So or retirement is there. In case of third question, dissolution or bills of exchange. In case of fourth question, we have issue of shares, and for that, or computer accounting. In case of fifth question, we have death of partners, and our question is analysis of financial statement. And in case of sixth question, not for profit, it is compulsory. And seventh question, partnership final account, this is also compulsory. Now for admission and dissolution, we have 10 marks. For issue of shares and death, we have 8 marks. And for not for profit, 12 marks. And for partnership final account, 12 marks. So for question number 6 and 7, you must work hard for that, because marks are more. 12, around 12 marks are there for not for profit and final account. Final account is quite easy, but in case of not for profit concern, most of the students are confused in adjustments and even heads also. So if you go for practicing, definitely you will get out of marks even in partnership final account and not for profit concern. In question number 2, 3, 4, and 5, you will have option to select the questions. So instead of admission or retirement, or you can go for dissolution or bills of exchange, issue of shares or computer accounting, and debt analysis. In this way, you can choose any one problem or any one theory for the problem. Next is marks allocation and time management. So first question is objective type. So as we have already discussed this, all 8 types of questions are there. For that 8 type of questions,
सर एक मिनिट फक्त अडवतो, आवाज तुमचा म्यूट वरती गेलाय.
Yes, sir. Sir, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Uh, Sorry for disturbance. Yes. So this is first type, objective type question. So out of this all objective type questions, we are going to solve A, C, D, G, and J. All these 5 options are available where all of you will commit very less amount of mistake if your spelling is not wrong. So if you go for any 4 out of this, so you will have maximum chances to score high amount of marks. For that purpose, you are supposed to select that particular type of objective and go for practicing around minimum 200 MCQs in the written basis. Why? Because if you have practice of just reading, exam is there for writing. So you must write all the MCQs. So this is first part related with objectives. In second part, we will have problems. So for admission or retirement for 10 marks, dissolution or bills of exchange for 10 marks, then issue of shares or computer accounting theory for 8 marks, death or analysis of financial statement for 8 marks, and not for profit and final account. These 2 topics are compulsory for 12. So maximum marks are given to the not for profit and partnership final account. So most of the students are comfortable with final account, but in case of not for profit, they have lots of problems. So you can uh, focus more on not for profit concept problem. And second position is there for admission and resolution, or we can say that retirement and bills of exchange. Out of these 4, you can select 2, and 8 marks are there for issue of shares and death in case of problem, and in case of computer accounting and analysis of financial statement. Uh, this is theory part, so 8 marks are there. So this is what all about paper pattern. Let's go for marks allocation and time management. So for objective type, we are going to select 4 options. So for out of 3 and around 330 minutes, 3 hours and 30 minutes, you are supposed to spend minimum 25 minutes for all objectives and maximum 30 minutes. What you are not supposed to do, or what you are supposed to do, that precautions you are supposed to take. First thing is that don't make spelling mistakes. So if you are going to make a spelling mistake, you will lose that marks. Then most of the students are having laziness in reading, so they ignore or they are not properly concentrating on MCQs. They must read it properly. So because of that, they can choose right option. Next is take time to think about answering. Take 1.5 minute for thinking, because in MCQ there might be chances of confusion. So think properly, then you are supposed to choose your answer. Then if filling the blanks is there, highlight with the pencil, don't use pen. Then out of 4 option, which option you are going to solve, that must be already decided. Then practice minimum 200 objectives of each type. So you will have confidence that you will definitely answer that MCQ. The next is score out of marks in objective. So if this is possible, because you are supposed to write only one word, and that for one word you will get 1 marks. Then don't just read MCQ but write it. So when you are going to do practice, don't just read, go for writing MCQ. Uh, Next is write question number properly for objectives. So all these precautions that you are supposed to take, if you take all these precautions, you will definitely get 20 marks in objective, first question. In second question, you will have two options, admission or retirement. So for that, you have minimum 25 minutes for that and maximum 30 minutes for that. Within 30 minutes, you are supposed to complete from writing up to the tally amount. You are supposed to complete all these factors. So what precautions you are supposed to take? First, read properly from start to end. So sometimes ratio is old ratio is there in first line, or in the last line they provide whether to do journal or ledger. So if you are not going to read start to end, you will not aware about ratios and what they have asked and whether adjustments are on the upper side or lower side. So instead of taking risk, it will take just 2 minutes to read all problem from start to end. So just spend 2 minutes for reading. Don't think that whether I know or whether I can solve or not, but just go through with it. So this is very good habit of solving before solving any problem. So check whether they have asked journal or ledger. बहुत से लोगों का ऐसे हो जाता है कि एग्जाम में लेजर पूछा जाता है, वो जर्नल सॉल्व करके आते हैं, जर्नल पूछा होता है, वो लेजर सॉल्व करके आते हैं. In that case, you will definitely get 0 marks for that. So this is very high amount of risk. So reading all the problems from starting to end, this is very important. Then read all adjustments and balance sheet carefully. Why? Because general reserve is there. Sometimes on the balance sheet asset side, they provide partners balance. So if you're not going to read all the contents, all the heads of the liability as well as assets and as well as adjustment, then you will not come to know the small things of that problem. Next thing is that goodwill adjustment is very important. Most of the students are having confusion because 4 or 5 types of transactions are there, like whether it is goodwill is raised or not, whether it is distributed in partners or not, whether it is bring in cash or not. So all the journal entries must be properly understood by you, and you are supposed to have practice for that. So working note of goodwill and entries of goodwill, these two things are very important in case of admission and retirement. Next, calculation of ratios. So old ratio, new ratio, sacrifice ratio, all these 3 ratios are important. Most of the students use sacrifice, they never use sacrifice ratio. They distribute some amount in old ratio. So this is not, it should not be happen. Whenever you require sacrifice ratio, in that case, you are supposed to use sacrifice ratio. You are supposed to calculate new ratio. Then again, you can go for sacrifice ratio. Don't think that old ratio and sacrifice ratio will be same, and I can calculate with the old ratio. No, this is wrong. You are supposed to go for working note, and then only you are supposed to distribute it. Next is mug up all equation. If you don't know equation of goodwill, if you don't know equation of new ratio, old ratio, sacrifice ratio, then it will create problem of calculation. So your equations must be perfect. So this is second question, admission or return. So if you ask me that which question we are supposed to select, so my personal opinion is that instead of retirement, if you go for admission of partner, then you will have chance to get maximum marks, because most of the students are having problem in case of last adjustment of retirement. They have little bit confusion about closing, so it is better if you go for admission. Next, third question is bills of exchange and or dissolution. So for that bills of exchange, you will have minimum 15 minutes and maximum 20 minutes. In bills of exchange, you must check that whether they have given journal entries and amount must be correct. It's both your entry as well as amount. Both things must be correct. If it is correct, then only you are going to receive marks. Second thing is that most of the students are having a problem of writing narration. Most of them ignore writing narration, or some they use shortcut for writing narration. So this is also not good. You are supposed to write all the details, whatever required in that narration. Second thing is that there should not be any confusion between the entries, whether it is asked in the books of drawer or in the books of drawee, whether ledger is asked. All this, that these small things you are supposed to confirm. You are supposed to read it properly. Who is drawer, who is drawee, that you are supposed to know. Working note, you are supposed to go for fair working note, and in that case you can solve bills of exchange. For that, a resolution is there, or so minimum time required 20 minutes, maximum 25 minutes. In that case, most of the students are having confusion in assets and liabilities transfer. So solve a number of problems, so you will get clear how to which assets you are supposed to transfer to the realization account, and which liabilities you are supposed to transfer. So this is very basic entry and step. If you know this entry properly, then you can get out of marks in this also. In case of resolution, it must be clear that whether they have asked you journal or ledger. So last line is most important, or first line is also most important. So same principle you must follow. That's read all the problem from start to end. Out of these two problems, I think resolution is good for to score high amount of marks. Instead of bills of exchange, if you go for a resolution, you will have a maximum chances to get high amount of marks. So 10 marks are there for resolution. Next is question number 4, issue of shares, and for that, our question is theory of computer accounting. So for issue of shares, you must have minimum 15 minutes and maximum 20 minutes. And for theory of computer accounting, you have minimum 20 minutes and maximum 25 minutes. In case of issue of shares, again same thing is that you are supposed to read that problem twice, because you need to understand whether shares are forfeited, whether it is surrender, whether it is reissue, what is face value, what is number of shares, what is step, means whether it is application, allotment, calls. All these things you are supposed to know it properly. So read whole problem twice, then you are supposed to go for the entries. In this case also, you must have your journal entry must be right, your amount must be right, and in case of narration, you are supposed to write detailed narration, face value, number of shares, party name. So this is very important in case of issue of shares. In case of theory of computer accounting, all the concept must be clear, and you are supposed to write minimum 1 page for this question. So 10 marks are provided for this. So out of this, I think you can go for issue of shares, because you will not get out of marks in theory, right? Even if you write 2 pages, no one will give you out of marks in theory, because that theory it cannot be matched with the out of marks. So in case of issue of shares, if you are going to do practice, then definitely you will get journal entry marks as well as marks for the amount. So from my point of view, if out of these 2, if you select issue of shares, then definitely you will get out of marks in question number 4. In case of question number 5, death of partner, and for that our question is common size statement. For death of partner, minimum time is 15 minutes, maximum time is 20 minutes. Then for common size statement, minimum marks are 15 minutes and maximum marks are 20 minutes. So in case of death, again adjustment of goodwill is important, working note of profit, that is also important, and last is closing of account is also important. So if you go for practicing working note and uh, journal or ledger, so in this case also, even in death of partner, you will get high amount of marks. Now, as you know that in case of death of partner, they ask working note and they provide marks for working note. So irrespective of problem, if you solve or if you write all the working note in fair manner after your problem, so it will help you. If suppose your problem is not tallying and if you want to recheck it, so that working note will be helpful for you, so you can cross check it and you can go for tally marks. So this is what the requirement. Don't think that whether working note is having marks or not. Irrespective of that, always try to go for fair working note in each and every problem. This is most important trick. Next is in case of common size statement, you will have 15 minutes for minimum 15, maximum 20. So you are supposed to write one whole question or one or two short notes. So when you are going to write theory, you are supposed to highlight the problem, highlight the points, and no spelling mistakes are required. And you must know everything about that question. You are supposed to write that. Next is calculation of percentage is important in this common size statement. So calculation is must be right. So if you have proper calculation, you will get out of marks for that. Now, in this, out of this two, from my personal angle, selection of death of partner is right, because in common size statement, you can't predict that which type of problem will be there. But in case of death of partner, as you have already practiced admission and retirement, so you can easily go for death of partner. So selection of death of partner problem is right from my angle. So this is fifth question. Sixth question is not for profit. So for this is compulsory question. You will have minimum time 25 minutes and maximum time 30 minutes for this problem. So now you are supposed to spend 5 minutes, not 2 minutes. You are supposed to spend 5 minutes to read this problem. Because in not-for-profit concern, if receipt and payment is given, so both the side, sometimes there is adjustment of, you are supposed to minus receipt from the payment. Same heads are there. For example, receipt for drama and expenditure from drama. So you are going to minus it income from expenditure. So likewise, you are supposed to check expenses, income, assets, and liabilities of the receipt and payment. So this is very important. You are going to connect head and adjustment with each other. For example, entrance fees capitalized, whether it is fully capitalized or 50%. That you are supposed to know. So you are supposed to make stars to the heads after reading the adjustment. So without reading, if you are going to start not-for-profit concern, definitely I will tell you, you are not going to tally. It is not possible for you to tally that problem. Why? Because if you don't know that whether which head is related with which adjustment, so you can't do that. So before starting problem, you must have plan for what I am going to solve and which adjustment I am going to do. Next thing is that subscription is very important adjustment. So most of the students are having confusion related with the last year's subscription and next year's subscription. So this confusion should not be there. So one adjustment will take a loss of 5 to 6 months. So this is very huge loss. Go through with all the adjustment of subscription. Definitely you will clear that. You can discuss with your teacher. So subscription adjustment can be solved properly. Then you are supposed to solve all the adjustment carefully, because expenses and liabilities, and on the opposite side incomes and assets are provided. So most of the students get confused that whether to add in the asset side or whether to write in a P&L account. So that confusion should not be there, and this is compulsory question, so you must go for high amount of practice of not for profit concept problems. So this is 12 marks. Next is question number 7, that is final account. So this is very famous and liked by the students. So you can take minimum 30 minutes and maximum 35 minutes for this. So first of all, you are supposed to check all the heads. Then you are supposed to check all the adjustment. Then SEA is important. That is one head is there, and in front side of that head one date is given, right? That is called the self-evident adjustment. So adjustment is not provided, but you are supposed to give 2 effects even if it is given in the trial balance. So all the SEA adjustment must be properly started. So 7 adjustment are there in your syllabus. Total 22 plus SES 7. Total 29 adjustment must be clear to you, and you are supposed to give adjustment effects of that. Then you are supposed to solve all the adjustment carefully, check whether you have given 2 effects or not. For trial balance only 1 effect is there. For adjustment you are supposed to give 2 separate effects for that head. Now I'm going to share you one most important trick, that when you're going to solve problem, that first of all go for reading, then read all heads, then read all adjustments, then make star mark to the heads. Second thing you're supposed to do that, please post all the heads and check it once. Then go for adjustment, then again check it. Then you are supposed to go for the gross profit, net profit, and tally the problem. So if you go through with these 3 steps, means posting of heads, checking of heads, then posting of adjustments and checking of adjustment, and last if you go for total, even if you can check total for 2 times, and then after that if you have not committed any mistake, definitely that problem will be tallied in the first row. So this is what required, provide you 12 marks. So this is also a most important question, that is final account. Now what about time management? If you are going to take total of all this minimum time, so minimum 2.30 hours will be required to cover your answer, full questions and answers. So maximum you can, even if you spend some time, or if there is any problem, you can take maximum 3 hours. And as you know that already you will have 3.5 hours is available. So from time point of view, you are not supposed to take any tension, but you are not supposed to spend too much time or maximum time than our standard time is not allowed. आपको जितना टाइम अलॉट हुआ है, मैंने आपको जो बताया, उस टाइम के आगे जाके आपको उस प्रॉब्लम को सॉल्व नहीं करना है, क्योंकि if you are going to take huge time, then it will create problem for you. So this time management is required. Minimum 2.30 hours, maximum up to 3 hours you are supposed to complete. You are supposed to tally all the problems as well as objectives. Now I have one question paper that I would like to share with you. So this is what we have already discussed. Now this is question paper. So the first part is objective. So you are going to choose 4. So this starting part ratio is provided 3:2. Then in case of partners balance, in case of general reserve, always check asset side. What is fixed asset, what is current asset, what is ratio. All these things you are supposed to check. Uh, Dates are more important. You are supposed to consider the amounts. Adjustment must be there. In last line, profit and loss adjustment account means whether they have given ledger or journal, that you are supposed to check. Then this is next problem, retirement. In case of, in first line, ratio is provided, capital balances, then general reserve, check asset side, check RDD properly. Then you are supposed to check all the adjustments. Percentage should not be wrong. You are supposed to apply right percentage to the right head, and goodwill adjustment is also there. Then they have asked you leisure, so that you are supposed to do last line. In case of question 3, there is dissolution. In case of dissolution, identify all the assets and liabilities. Which asset you are going to transfer, that you are supposed to know. Then in case of adjustment, read all the adjustments properly and check the balances properly. They have asked the realization account, partners capital account, whatever they ask, that you are supposed to draw. Don't waste your time in accounts. Bills of exchange, this is bills of exchange. You are supposed to read it twice and understand, calculate all due dates properly, calculate 3 months properly, calculate interest rates properly, and presentation should be good in case of journal. And next is question number 4. It is issue of shares. So they just mentioned that record the above transaction in the books of Viraj Limited. So Viraj, you are going to write entries in case of in the books of companies. So what is application date, allotment, application amount, allotment amount, who is defaulter. So Ravi is holding 1,000 shares and failed to pay the calls. So from how many calls he has not paid, whether it is first or second, that you are supposed to check. Then theory is there, accounting software for 8 months. Then question 5 is there, death of partner. In this case also you are supposed to check left liability side, asset side. Adjustment must be properly checked. This last adjustment is very important. So decreasing partner share in the profit to the date of death was to be calculated on the previous year profit. So this last adjustment is most important, because your closing will change according to the last adjustment. Then next part is related with the common size statement. So in this case also you are supposed to identify all the assets and liabilities properly and calculate percentage in a proper way. Sixth question is not for profit concern. So asset, liability, and receipt and payment, that you are supposed to connect all the heads with each other. So books, it is purchased, opening stock, then opening balance, purchased, sale. All that 3 heads must be matched with each other. Opening balance, closing balance, opening balance sheet, closing balance sheet. All these concepts must be properly practiced. Last question is 7 number, that is final account. So whether current account is there or not, whether SEA, special adjustment, is there or not, and you are supposed to check all the adjustments properly. At that time only you will have chance to get maximum. So this is what all about the question paper. Now let's go for some common suggestions for all of you. This is also most important for you. First, my valuable suggestion is that solve any question. No sequence is required, but write question number properly. Most of the students ask that, is it necessary to write objective on the first page? So it is not compulsory. You can start your answer with final account, no problem. But your question number must be properly written. So you will get marks for that. Okay, so there is no confusion in the mind of examiner about marks and numbers. But for your reference and precaution, you are supposed to write proper number. Next thing is that make fair working note after the problem. Most of the students are going to, they used to do working note on the back side of their notebook, or in case of answer sheet, they write rough work. So you can do that, but my personal suggestion is that uh, if you go for all the calculation after completion of your problem is on the third or fourth page, even if you commit any mistake, you can check that whether it is mistake in problem or whether it is mistake in total or whether it is in working note. So this is very good habit that you are supposed to develop. Next is new problem must be on new page. Don't start a problem on the same page. It is a matter of presentation. Next, read all the questions from start to end that we have already discussed. Don't waste your time if problem is not tally in the first row. So this is also most important. Uh, I told you you are supposed to spend only 5 minutes if your problem is not tally. Uh, First thing is that you are supposed to follow all the instructions given by me while solving the problem. For example, in case of final account, go for posting your head, go for check it, then go for adjustment, check it, then go for tally. Even if it is not tally, then after that you are supposed to spend minimum 5 minutes for that. And if it is not tally, then you are supposed to keep that problem as it is, go for next problem, solve it properly, don't get confused. uh, there should not be impact of last problem to the next problem. मेरा टैली नहीं हुआ है, मैं मुझे टेंशन आया है, एक प्रॉब्लम टैली नहीं हुआ तो बाकी के भी नहीं हुए. This is not happen. टैली नहीं हो रहा है तो मिस्टेक है, तो you can find out that. But you are supposed to only spend 5 minutes. After completion of whole paper, you will have another half an hour. You can check all the heads properly at that time. Next is use left margin of the answer sheet. So as you know that your size of your answer sheet is very small and you can't write it properly in that way, in that answer sheet. So even if you can use left margin of your answer sheet, no problem at all. आपको पूरा पेपर जो है आंसर शीट वो यूज करना है, तो ये सबसे इम्पोर्टेंट पार्ट है. So don't draw lines on answer sheet. जैसे कि आप थियरी एसपीओसी को आप जैसे ही आपको आंसर शीट मिलते हैं, you can start drawing lines. So you are not supposed to do in case of account paper. You can directly draw format of the problem, and as you are going to use left margin, so definitely no need to write line, no need to draw lines. Directly go for drawing formats. Next thing is that if you are getting answer sheet before 15 minutes of the examination, you can spend your time for drawing. Why? Because most of the student are taking time for draw the lines, draw the format. So if you have time of that 15 minutes, don't waste that. You can go for format, and so it will give you more time for solving the problem, right? So आपको क्या करना है, जैसे आंसर शीट मिलेगी आपको लिखना, फॉर्मेट ड्रॉ करके रखना है. फाइनल अकाउंट आप ड्रॉ कर सकते हो, नॉट फॉर प्रॉफिट कंसर्न आप ड्रॉ कर सकते हो. जहाँ पे आपको जर्नल है या लेजर है उसमें कंफ्यूजन है, वो पार्ट आप साइड में रख सकते हो. तो ये जो है ये भी आपको एक टाइम सेविंग में बहुत ज़्यादा इम्पोर्टेंट पार्ट होगा. नेक्स्ट इज what you are supposed to do for next 1 month that you must know. So while doing revision, solve only one problem and highlight all the problems. So most of the students used to say that we are not going to spend time for account because it will take too much time. So this is wrong. What you are supposed to do, you are not going to solve all booklet. You are going to solve just only one problem, and all other problems that you are supposed to go through with it. If you ask me what you will do, so my suggestion is that I will go for solving master problem. So once you solve master problem, all the adjustments are included in that problem. So all other easy and difficult problem you can go through with just new heads and adjustments. So it will save your time, and consistently you can go for revision. Then, as you know that on 4th March you will have exam, so timetable must be required. So you are supposed to prepare schedule for that for all the subjects and spend maximum time for the preparation. Next thing is that one practice I used to do that most of the my students solve problem from 1974 up to 2022. So it will cover all reference book, all board exams problems, all new problems. So this practice will definitely help you to develop your logic, even if new adjustment and even if googly is there in your examination, you will definitely identify that which adjustment is this. So if you go for practice of solving all these problems of board, it is available in market. Definitely you will get high amount of marks. So ABT is also important. If you have honest study, you will definitely get out of marks because 80-20 distribution is there. So if you will get out of 20 marks, so you will have chance to get 80 marks in accounts paper. Then last most important suggestion is that one problem a day. So there is one phrase, one apple a day keep doctor away. So same thing is that one problem a day score maximum marks. So this is what you are. If you want high amount of marks, you are not supposed to keep gap of 4 or 5 days. Daily you are supposed to solve at least one problem. So you will. I'm not going to forget that, and just go solve one problem. It will take 15 to 20 minutes, and after that you can just go through with all other important problems. So this is what valuable suggestions from my side. So if you are going to do all these things, definitely you will get out of marks in accounts. So try your best for this. So this is what all about from my side. So thanks a lot for giving me chance. I hope that all of you, all these suggestions and precautions that will definitely help you in your examination. Once again, thank you for giving me opportunity for this lecture. Thank you.
थँक्यू सो मच सर. खूप चांगल्या पद्धतीनं तुम्ही मुलांना मार्गदर्शन केलं. अगदी पेपरचा पॅटर्न पासून अगदी प्रत्येक प्रश्नाचं उत्तर सोडवण्यापर्यंत प्रत्येक प्रश्न एक्सप्लेन कसा करावा या संदर्भानं तुम्ही योग्य पद्धतीने मार्गदर्शन केलं. नक्कीच मुलांना 100 पैकी 100 मार्क या विषयामध्ये मिळतील. या सत्रासाठी तुम्ही वेळात वेळ काढून उपस्थित झालात याबद्दल सरहद ज्युनियर कॉलेजच्या वतीनं मी आपले मनपूर्वक आभार व्यक्त करतो. खूप खूप धन्यवाद सर.
थँक्यू.
मित्रांनो, भेटूया पुन्हा एकदा एक नवीन विषय घेऊन आणि करिअरच्या नव्या वाटा घेऊन या करिअर मार्गदर्शन सत्रामध्ये. आजचं सेशन या ठिकाणी संपलं असं जाहीर करतो. पुढच्या सत्रामध्ये पुन्हा एक नवीन विषय घेऊन आपण सगळेजण नव्यानं भेटूया. खूप खूप धन्यवाद. सगळ्यांचे खूप आभार.